Hey, welcome to the Worm. You're gonna have to excuse us for a minute. We have to go down. Apparently the highway down here is getting really sketchy, so I gotta go do a little road work. That's what I thought. Oh, that's gonna take forever. What is this, like the third year in a row that I haven't gotten around to filling this in? I think year 5's got a lot of promise. Holy moly, it's cold. Well, it's time. As you probably know by now, and as I think I've alluded to in several videos, you know, I've had back issues for the last 6 months. It's a good thing it didn't start happening until 6 months ago, because I was able to, you know, live out here for 5 years in the woods, build my own cabin, all that stuff, do all of it without heavy equipment. Technically, I don't know, maybe you could call this heavy equipment, but it's the lightest heavy equipment a guy could get. I don't like this weather at all. We had beautiful snow, perfect temperatures in the beginning of winter, and then we got to warm up. All the snow melted pretty much. And then the last bunch of days, it's been bitter cold. It's been in the negatives. But the good thing is that the ground was slushy and disgusting and muddy, and now it's frozen solid. So Sarah and I have been hiding in the cabin, but we did make the trip yesterday to go pick up this little bitty teensy-tiny excavator. I didn't do a lot of research. I think I watched one YouTube video and said, okay, that guy seems to know what he's talking about. So it's still all wrapped up in cardboard and ratchet straps. I'm gonna go dig it out, see if it'll start up. It's only about 4 degrees right now, so I have no idea. By the way, I might not seem it, but I'm very excited. This is gonna be awesome. Well, I decided to cut out the unboxing. I don't need a bunch of people telling me that's unsafe, that's illegal. It was a little bit of a trick to get it out here to the woods. Oh, you know what? Let's look at something real quick. I got a few things. I just want to test this thing out. We're not going to be digging any giant holes. I'm sure we'll be able to lift some logs. But there are like 3 things I just want to see if I can do today. One, because we had this deep freeze, I can no longer get the lean-to door to close. We get that big heave, the ground comes up, and it's stuck right there. And we'll just see if we can scrape some of that out of there. This is a tiny machine. I mean, it's the smallest one they make, but I can already see it's totally worth it out here. So if you want to use it for a little project like this, you could probably fit it right through there. We can take the trash can off, fit it right in there. It's going to be great. There are 2 bridges coming in here. One is pretty quick after you park. I eventually want to make that tough enough to hold a car. I don't really ever want to be able to get my car all the way back here, but I'd like to bring it in a little bit, and that first bridge is going to be a problem. On the upside, it's completely silted up underneath. The water doesn't really run under it anymore, and then everything froze solid. So we've got basically like a mud ice bridge. I don't think we're going to have a problem driving the excavator over it. However, the bridge that I just chiseled all the snow and ice off of, there's no way that's going to hold this thing. So we're going to have to bring it in on this walking trail, which is super uneven. Did I mention the excavator goes maybe 3/10 of a mile per hour? That first little bridge, I do want to see if we can scoop out that holding puddle at all. And then, so that's 2 things. Third thing is there's one tiny spot here that I keep bottoming out on the 4-wheeler. And I don't have any fill dirt to fill these holes up, so we're just going to see if we can just break a little bit of it loose. So this is the part of the trail I do eventually want to maybe gravel a little bit or something. At least dig along the edge here. So all the water runs off this hill, like way back there. It's a ton of water. And it generally goes into my ruts and runs all the way down here. So in the springtime, I think I'll just dig like a 1/4 mile long channel along here. Oh, here's the bridge and the runoff. You can't even see the bridge anymore. That water all runs down there, and I had it so it went off here, and this was all dug out. went underneath here and across. There are, what, like 6 cedar logs or 8 cedar logs across there. You can just barely see a couple there. And everything flowed underneath there, but it doesn't anymore. But I think it's gonna hold us. It's so little, right? Look how small this bucket is. Only mistake is this was supposed to have a hydraulic thumb on it, and it came with the wrong one, so the company said they'd send me out the right thing. But luckily it does have the plumbing on here and the controls. Teensy little blade on it for grading. I have no experience at all running one of these things, but a bunch of years ago, you guys probably know, I drove a snowcat for a few years, which is about 30 times more complicated than this, and about 50 times bigger. So I don't think it's going to be a problem. Bucket goes up. Bucket curls. Open the bucket. Spin the whole thing around. That's it. 2 tracks, forward and reverse, and then this is the little grading blade. Alright, let's see if we can drive it back there. Oh, did I mention it's really slow and very, very jerky. This has a single hydraulic pump on it. So, you know, even the tracks are hydraulic. You can do multiple controls at a time, but it's half speed. And when you drive the thing, that's 2 tracks you're pushing. So it's really slow, and then you go to turn, you let off on one, and it's twice as fast. Spins you around. Just have to get used to it, that's okay. I am not a fan of getting on this thing while it's running. You gotta weasel your knees around all this, and if you bump any of the controls, it just could be bad. So I'm probably gonna shut this down every time I get on or off. Wish I didn't have my backpack right now. Oh yeah, that's a problem. There's no place to stash it on here. Nothing but ice. The really old snowcats had them like this, 2 levers between your legs. The newer ones, at least new when I was doing it, there's an armrest that folds down on your left side and you hold both of these in one hand. But I'm kind of used to driving it like this, so it's not bad. I'm just gonna try to miss all that ice and ride up on this berm. Sit here and whittle away at it, but I just remembered Kuiper's locked up in the cabin. Better go back and we gotta go get him and see what he thinks of this thing. I have a feeling he's not gonna like it for a while. Probably a bit too frozen to use the pusherator. Yep. This is the main trail, the bridge is right there. And then this is the walking trail this way. That's what we're going for, I guess. I've wanted to re-level this area for a long time, right underneath the sawhorses there where I know. Maybe we can pop those out of there and smear it out. He doesn't sound happy. He doesn't like when there's foreign sounds around his house here. Of course, he could just be hanging out in his dog house, but he's not. Hi, buddy. Welcome. Go get it. What is that, buddy? What is it? Pretty freaky, right? You want to see it belt? One thing I found interesting about this when I was unpackaging it, I've never seen anything like this that doesn't come with a manual. There's nothing, no paperwork. I don't know if that's normal or not. Before I even first started it, I kind of took the whole back of this thing apart. You know, figured out where the oil filter is and how all the cables are run and the dipstick. It's too bad Sarah just left. I really wanted her to try driving this thing around. What? It's supposed to start snowing in about 8 minutes, but I want to show you something. Check out the hot tub. This is, I mean, something like this happens every year. Oh yeah, and you remember the dog bed. Hasn't been moved yet, but now we can pick it up anytime we want, move it anywhere. Everything out here over about 30 pounds is gonna have a bunch of eyelets in it, so I can pick it up and scoot it over if I want to. We were over here a couple nights ago, and I just heard like a crack sound. I thought it was like a big limb or something that fell on top of the water tower. That's what it sounded like. But it was the hot tub water freezing. I had no idea there was still water in this. I thought I leave this flipped upside down with the lid sitting on top of it. So for what, a year it's been sitting there like that? And the lid was perfectly in place 2 days ago, like sitting down in there. I tried moving it and it was like a rock, so nothing we could do. And yesterday I was out here walking by, bang! And I looked over and all this ice had risen up and it popped the lid free. So I was able to get that off of there. The problem is that wooden slat floor is frozen in there, and it looks like, of course, it's broken. It's probably 2 inches down in there, and then just right there. So it's sticking up and then goes back down in. The sensible way to get the ice out of here would be to start a fire, but I can't imagine how long I'd have to be out here feeding that thing to get all the ice out. I don't know, maybe not that long, but I'm not gonna do it. The tub doesn't appear to be broken, but I don't know if you could see that bulge in the side. I'm sure it's the same on the bottom. But there aren't any splits, so I don't know. We'll see if we can do something with that. All I want to do right now is try to pick some stuff up. Guess we can get that old slab off the sawhorses, see if we can rip those out of there. Pick that big pallet up, throw it on the fire pit. Just good light duty practice. Okay, that's harder than I expected. We did have all that snow, then it melted, then it immediately deep froze, so I guess that shouldn't be surprising. What else? That's how deep froze everything is. I don't know if you know this about me, but I'm a big advocate of making your life enjoyable, just having fun. And it would have taken me maybe a tenth of the time to flip that pallet onto the fire, but that was way more fun. I guess we go over and see if, I think the ground is going to be so frozen it's not going to work, but let's see if we can dig that door out. Sure slips a lot on the ice, barely get it going. Keep the RPMs really low. It makes it quite a bit less jerky, it seems. I don't think he's afraid of it. I think it's just not his favorite thing yet. Yeah, look how that thing just fits easily in between there. Just got to remember, like a lot of heavy equipment that pivots like that, there's a lot of weight in the back of it, and the back sticks way out, so when you swing around, it's easy to smash into a tree with the back of it because you're not even looking that direction. it's gonna happen. Probably gonna happen today. Yep, a lot of tight spots. And I got a perfect place for my dog watcher. Yeah, that's sweet. I like that. And I was kind of wondering why that pin was so long. You know what I just thought of? Piper's hanging out over here by the cabin. It's laying in the snow because it's nice and cold. This is the perfect day to open up the outside of the doghouse, see if he'll go in there and chill. Got the alarm on the app on my phone through his collar set for 40 yards, and he's like right at 40 yards. So I keep seeing the screen flash, but we can extend it out to 50 and see if he'll hang out in here. Oh yeah. Can't close the door with this giant bed in here. How about you can chew on that in the doghouse? How about a chew toy and a treat? You want a treat? Here. There we go. This would make me very happy if you just laid down in there. Do it, do it, do it. I dare you. No? You don't want to hang out in your own house? That's alright, it only took 9 months to build. It looks like he'd be happy in there. Oh, no, he's gonna bring his bone out here. I don't think he understands that. I had to cut all these trees and make all the lumber myself. Otherwise, I think he'd appreciate it more. No tasty treats outside the doghouse. Oh yeah, check out what I got. I finally found a second-hand store with old skis. So I'm going to use those. I don't know if I'll use 1 pair or 2 pair, but we're going to make him a really nice dog sled. Not for him to sled on. He has to pull it, of course. As soon as we have some frickin' snow out here. I just got the 2 cheapest pair I could find. Thinking maybe we do like that. You think those are chew treats, don't you? I promise you they're not. Yeah, we just connect them, mill up some lumber, or find something in the pile, maybe some scraps, connect them all together. Put a flat top on it, maybe a bunch of eyelets or holes to put the ratchet straps around it so we can put logs on there and he can pull them. Or, of course, we could throw Ruby's bed on there. What's that? Did you have something to say? So that'd be fun. That'd probably be next week's project, building that thing. I know I did say I wasn't going to get on and off this, and 30 minutes later I'm already breaking that rule. The number of times you got to get off for something like move the frickin' camera. You'd wear a starter out in 6 months. Like every tool, it just takes a couple minutes of getting used to, but I think it's fantastic. If it saves you like one trip to the back surgeon, it's worth it, right? You know, it doesn't say anywhere on here that I can see what kind of fuel they recommend. Came with about we've used about a quarter tank so far. It does say to inject the fuel according to the rules. So that's good. Oh, I guess is that the fuel filler right there? Sure is. It smells like an 87 to me. I have to think that this thing runs on regular. I don't know if you're supposed to use something different for break-in. I think maybe we'll do 2 parts regular, 1 part a high energy. It's funny, it takes me like years to work up to spending 5-6 grand on something, and somebody who is remaining unnamed helped me out with this, made it possible. But after some amount of time, you gotta have something like this to keep yourself entertained. You can't just do the same thing all the time, and we gotta keep you entertained. What are we at, like 220 episodes? That's too much chainsaw milling. So maybe it is a good thing my back isn't great. Just keeps us changing things up. Okay, that's enough. Wow, this thing doesn't hold anything. Like maybe a couple gallons. This would be really fun to get that thumb on here. Oh, 2.5 hours on this. That's not bad. I already kind of feel comfortable with the bucket. This seat got crushed in transit. Kind of need to take it off of there and straighten it out. I gotta try digging in that sawdust pile one more time and try lifting one of those really heavy logs. That's what we need it to do. That didn't sound good. If this thing is anything like a snowcat, and the tracks kind of are, I assume that bang was the drive cog, the giant gear looking thing that drives the tracks. It was probably that skipping, so probably need to check and tighten the tracks pretty quick after we do this though. He's in the doghouse. Wow. He's just standing in there. Oh, maybe he's getting a drink. I guess you can't see anything on this camera. Nope, coming back out. It looks like a sandbox, but it ain't. Poor guy keeps going back to the cabin. He's ready for his afternoon nap. Hasn't got any sleep today. I'm not sure which is best on here, but we'll figure it out eventually. I think it depends on how far out the arm is, what angle you get on those. Having too much fun, can't stop. I got a couple logs out here that this one has been here since year 1, summer 1. So if anything's frozen to the ground, it's gonna be. It's a weird like half live, half dead log. I was thinking about milling it down the middle and making some crazy table out of it. It's actually the tree from that giant stump all the way back there. And personally, I think it should be moved. My dog needs a nap. It is 100% just Tonka trucks for grown-ups. And I tell you what, after 5 years of doing all of this stuff just with muscle, this is great. I wouldn't change anything. I wouldn't go back and get this from day one, because just like today, back 5 years ago, I didn't know how long I was going to stay out here. I didn't know if I was going to leave the next day, get sick of it, if it wasn't going to be fun anymore. And there's absolutely no sense in spending a bunch of good money on something that you don't know you're going to continue to use. They're actually still pretty tight. That's that drive wheel back there. And after it skips a whole bunch of times, you can start wearing that down and start wearing down in the track there. I'm guessing that, yeah. Oh yeah, this is just mechanical. There's no like grease pumper or hydraulic or anything, just a giant bolt. So let's see, that's the drive, at least on a snowcat, that's the drive wheel. And these are, I think they call them guide wheels. I don't know if that's considered a guide wheel or not. What do you think, Mountain Man? I love that he's finally in the habitat he was made for. Well, next time I get the sewing machine out, I have to make a little teensy-tiny cover for this thing. Maybe we can just throw over the seat and over the controls, and that's basically it. Now, if I recall right, you could spend another couple $1,000s on one of these, and you can get the arm that has a hydraulic, so you could just pivot that back and forth. I'm not really clear on why you'd want to do that, since you can just spin the whole thing. I guess it would allow you to spin the machine this way and turn the arm that way, so get like kind of a different angle of attack. But I wasn't going to spend more than the absolute minimum if I bought one of these things. All right, I'm gonna just let my dog take a quick nap, and then we'll see if we can break some ice, because it's my dog that needs a nap. By the way, I do intend to use this thing for a lot of bizarre projects, movements. Like I told Sarah went and helped me get a load of water. It's probably, I don't know, 60, 70 gallons of water, most of it in 5-gallon buckets. And I was like, if I had the excavator up here, I would literally use it to pick the buckets up out of the trailer and place them in through the door. Probably shouldn't try that on day one. It'd be really easy to rip this place down. That seems like a fun thing to do. It'd also be nice to have some mechanical power to pull on anyway. Just, you know, as always, stick around if you want. Sarah must have found some chili cheese Fritos here somewhere. Oh yeah, I got energy now. I just want you to know, just for the record, he napped. You can tell, look at his eyes. I almost napped. I was getting pretty tired. Do you find yourself about 4:30 using a headlamp in your living room? Even though the weatherman says it's not snowing, I still see stuff falling out of the sky. Oh, and you know what else I see? The good set of skis, one of them is delaminated on the tip. Well, we can epoxy it. Let's go. We got to go do something. Oh man, just that little bit of snow makes it so much brighter out here. I get like an extra 20 minutes of work time in the afternoons. Yeah, look at that ski. Well, we'll just put a bolt right through the tip. We need to use the seatbelt for something. We need to put a seatbelt on something that shouldn't have a seatbelt. Gonna have to give that a think. We'll come up with something. Yeah, best I can tell is this whole edge is supposed to be vertical, like this one. Oh yeah, there was an extra piece of this cover up the sharp corner stuff just floating around over there too. Oh, probably goes right there. I almost don't mind if I drop one of these down in there. It's been on my Christmas list for years and years and years to get one of those snake cameras. And now, of course, you use your iPhone screen and then put the camera with the light down there, whatever. Sarah got me one this year. Still haven't even tried it, but maybe I should just take one of these and chuck it down in there. Ooh, yeah, that sucker's real bent up. Maybe we just beat the crap out of it with a hammer. I love weather like this. I don't know if the camera will pick it up, but it's snowing and the sun is setting somewhere and everything is starting to turn like, is mauve a color? I don't know what mauve is. Like a nice pink hue. So pretty and so quiet. I'll just add to it with a little hammering. Yeah, that kind of ruins the moment. Kuiper just left me. He doesn't like the noises, that guy. He's kind of sensitive. Can you see the color? That's probably good enough for a toy excavator. Buddy, this is exactly what the bed's for. You can hang out right next to me in the snow. See, look at that. We could fit like 3 more burners on there. All right, it's too dark. You don't want to see a guy hammer a seat anyway. See you tomorrow, Will. There's a water dish in there. You prefer shoe snow? Got all those dirt chunks and sticks, twigs. I think from now on, when it's not freezing cold, his water bowl is going to be in there. He's going to have to hop in to get it if he wants it. Oops. Oh, don't eat those. Kuiper, come. He dropped it. Okay. Don't lose your mind. This is solid ice underneath here. You might have to come over and break this up. Actually, this whole hump here is snow and sawdust. Probably close to a foot high. I got the manual for this thing emailed to me last night. It is crazy. It's 100% translated word for word. There was definitely no English speaker that had any part in doing the whole manual. It's like unusable. I think everything that has grease they call butter. So there are tons of butter fittings and butter cylinders. Even trying to figure out what kind of oil, not in there. Everything was like, if you have blank model, use blank, and those were never filled in. I looked through the entire 100-page manual, and I don't think there was a single thing that was useful. Got one thing we got to do real quick. I got myself some Christmas suspenders. Some of you might recognize these colors. I couldn't get exactly what I wanted, so I have to do a little surgery. I was thinking, like, construction workers always wear that reflective safety vest. We should have our own vest out here. Maybe I can sew something up, or I don't know, maybe I've got something around here, cut some sleeves off, put a zipper down the front, permanently attach these, and it always hangs on here. So anybody that's going to get on and drive this thing around, they have to have the safety suspenders. Since nothing will move on this thing, including the tracks, until it warms up, I think the hydro has to pump through there a whole bunch of times. Might as well let it idle for a little bit. I'm assuming that whir is the hydraulic pump, just pumping really thick, sludgy hydraulic oil, but I'm not sure. It does seem to go away after you run it for a bit. I know, it's the wrong color duct tape. I don't have the regular silver. I feel safer. This will do until I get my sewing machine out. Well, I got a bunch of extras. No surprise that didn't work, but it's good practice. Wow. That is one big block of ice. It looks like it didn't break the seam. That's still holding together somehow. This thing is pretty fun to use. Oh, I'm gonna need probably a helmet, wouldn't you think? You know, it's funny, I stretch pretty much every day for, I don't know, 15 minutes or something. I couldn't figure out this morning why my hips hurt so bad. It's from sitting on that. It's the opposite of any stretch I do. You know, I like this one. Ah, great hip stretch. This is, riding on that is your knees out and your body rocked forward. It was just stretching something weird in my hip butt. Uh-oh. Oh. That's the holder downer because the floor floats. Maybe this thing isn't busted yet. There's the rest of it. That thing works so well. I'll try a fatter one. Maybe it won't dive as much. That's great. Look at that sucker. I don't know how to get that out of there. You could just beat the crap out of it with the sledgehammer. Maybe break it free. I don't know. Wow. Nope. It's gonna take a fur if I want to get that out of there. That's way too much firewood, way too much work. I guess I could destroy the floor and just pry it out. I really want to get at that ice. Not because it's necessary, I just want to do it. When I first got this thing, of course, one of the things I wanted to find out is how much weight it'll lift. If I put a strap around it and I could, unfortunately, you can't quite get that high enough close in, you could definitely lift this whole thing up. I don't know how many gallons this is, like 100? That is freaking wild. Oh yeah, there's the middle bar. Now we're getting somewhere. All right, now it's ice, just ice. Now that's just fun. I don't care what you say. Okay, now out of curiosity, let's try the spike, shall we? It's about the same. Both are fun. I know what that is. It's the very last bit of the water to freeze. You guys remember a long time ago, multiple years, when I was showing the buckets of water, like my shower water, when they freeze, you could sometimes slide the whole chunk of ice out of a 5-gallon bucket, and just the last little bit inside, like inside an ice cup, will be like a nasty slurry like that. And I think it's all the impurities and the iron and the minerals and everything that gets pushed in. It's pretty weird. Okay, something I've already learned about this excavator. It is way faster if you don't have to bend over, and whatever you're scooping isn't heavy. It's definitely faster to use a shovel, but it's not as much fun. You know, even the bending is really the thing. That's why I always use the picaroon or the log ox, you know, the log round picker upper. Bending over 1,000 times all day long will just kill you, even if it's not a lot of weight. I'm not very smart. Look at this pile of ice. I'm thinking, man, couldn't I just use that for something or build something out of it? That's my cooler ice for the rest of the winter. You probably noticed even in the same video that the coolers are out on the steps and then they're inside back and forth. Right now there's a whole bunch of water in the bottom of both of them, and I kind of go back and forth. When it gets too watery, I stick them outside for a day or a night. When it's almost frozen, I put it back inside, but I don't really like moving that big cooler that much. I think I'm just going to leave it like this, put the lid back on it, and then I can come out with my 5-gallon bucket and get a bunch of ice. If I had a thumb on this, I wouldn't have to use muscles. This is the weirdest pile of snow I've ever stood in. You know, there are a couple of log rounds here and branches that I've wanted to have moved for quite a while. I think we could just take care of it real quick. Completely unnecessary but fantastic practice. I had to keep switching the thumb. It really makes a difference, like how far out you're reaching. Also, I just noticed when this thing is pinned all the way down, you can curl the bucket right into it. I don't know that there's anything that'll get hurt, but it happens. This is just fun. It's good, clean fun. So it's definitely possible to bend this thing pretty easily. We're just picking up some log rounds over here, and I noticed a while ago that this already isn't straight. I don't know if you can tell, but the thumb is tweaked off to the side. You can see it's a little bit bent there. Oh yeah, that's what's bent. So that when the bucket closes, these don't go exactly between the teeth here. Toes, what are those called? No idea. I already bent that thing too. It's all fine though. You know, on the 1 or 2 videos I watched about this thing, I think that's the one thing the guy addressed, that it's worth taking this off and strengthening the side of the bucket. We'll do that at some point. I do want to get a small welder out here. I really enjoy welding. It's as handy as having a freaking hammer. And even with a small welder, that would be an easy fix. Well, when I get the hydraulic thumb, I guess a lot of this is going to be replaced anyway. Looks to me like you just unpin that. That comes right out. Man, oh Pete, this day flew by. Can't believe it's about to get dark. I'm gonna take the last couple minutes of daylight to take a couple of those things apart and hammer them straight. Had to do some real banging to get this thing all the way retracted up there so I could pin it up. So might have to pound on some stuff. Thanks for watching, appreciate it. kind of fun having a new thing out here, isn't it? Hope to see you next week. If there's any snow on the forecast, we'll be making that sled for Kuiper. The dude needs his exercise. He's been running in circles around me all day, but still needs some training. Yeah, look at his track for today. The yellow is where he's been. All right, I'm gonna move this last 5-gallon bucket of extra heavy water. It's deuterium, I think. Is that heavy water? I think it is. See you next week.